Started recording. All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. It is 7 o'clock. And then Kelsey resigned today, and then it looks like Allison is also, well, it would have been her second absence. She has a sick kid, and this would make her second absence or third absence, or however many absences it is.
The third.
That knocks you down. So she resigned, and then it looks like Allison is also not here. So let's move on. We do not have any citizens, so we will move past citizen comments and move on to our first agenda item. Consider approval of minutes from the February 8th, 2024 board meeting and take appropriate action. Yeah, it's what we didn't meet
I know, it just seems like
in March. Yeah,
a year below, yeah.
The only thing that I have is,
it's your name.
yeah,
I see that.
it's
It's
E.
right under.
I'm so sorry. I'm just special.
I put it.
You put it right here and then
Oh, sorry.
don't be sorry.
Well, I am. I don't really like it. Yeah, but you have the E in my name, so that's great. Sorry.
You got lost. Cool.
I agree. Our headmaster keeps trying to go digital everything, and I'm like, no, I need to touch it.
Tennessee.
Mhm. All right, anything else other than Zach's name?
We accept them with the correction.
Lee moves with correction.
I second.
Stacy seconds. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, motion passes. Next is their trustee report, which is Allison, and she is not here. So if you have heard something interesting or neat about libraries while you've been out in the world, you can share that, or we can move on to patron feedback.
I went to the Library of Congress last month. It was very pretty. Yes. So my brother lives out there, and we just toured around the Library of Congress, but they also have, like, I can't remember what the name of it is now, but it's in Washington DC, like the large 1 block, brand new 5-story library, public library that they have going on there, which is really pretty and really beautiful. But yeah, that's all I have. It's more of a trip update than a library update.
You went to a super cool library. All right. Then let's move on to patron feedback. Mhm. And then Heather added a new column for us, which is her response when she's responded to somebody, which is helpful. Yeah. Any comments?
Where's 75019?
Oh,
Oh, that's, I did not notice the zip codes over there.
I'm just
Another-
always,
Another new column. That's also a helpful column to have.
I'm just always struck by how complimentary they are, the staff.
mhm.
And so I hope they get to hear some of this. I think they do.
They do. Staff are, they're always, I don't know why, but they're always surprised when someone compliments them, so.
Well, I think because librarians can sometimes get a bad rap, you know, like the shushy lady with the bun from years past, right? And they have to do, you know, they do have to tell people you can't do that, or you can't have that, or you have a fine.
I hope we're doing our part to get away from this area.
I think you are. I think you are. All right. Any other comments on the patron feedback?
That looks great.
All right, let's move on to the library board 2045 document. So we have, you have Lee's update.
Yes.
And then you have another little thing of like an adjusted proposal of what it would look like. I have two. Are they the same or different?
They are different.
Okay. So Lee, do you want to go first and then I'll talk about this
Summarize a
other
little
bit?
Kind of last time, David was wondering about what the literacy rates in the city might be. And I couldn't find anything at the city level, but I found county level data from two big assessments. The now is a US one. And the other is an international one that's actually done more frequently than the US one. The sampling is sampling adults is challenging. And what really they do is go kind of door to door in different types of neighborhoods and ask for people to participate. But both studies exclude second language people. So in the data I found, Dallas County is significantly below the state, and the state is below the national. While I think in Farmers Branch, we might be a little above the county, we still don't compete well with, Dallas County doesn't compete well with Tarrant or, of course, Collin and Denton, some of those right around us. But I was struck because the level 1 is very low. It's like maybe 4th grade. And on the international study, Dallas County was like 33% below the level 1. And that's not counting second language people. So I think they're probably, it's very difficult to get a needs assessment with adults because just asking them to participate in a literacy study is somewhat demeaning. And so they don't necessarily want to participate, particularly if they know they have a reading problem. But these are both really, really solid studies. They just aren't done very often. They're pretty old.
Well, last line, third paragraph, it really just shows the need. US 22%, Texas 28.9%, Dallas County 33%. Just you can extrapolate any way you want. That still shows there's going to be
It's still,
absolutely
Yeah, there's
more
still-
so than
there are people out there that are struggling with literacy. And then the other thing I did was go to area library websites to see what they were doing with adult learning. And they were calling it that more than literacy, which I also understand. I think that's the meaning. And Dallas is the only one that actually is a provider, that they provide their own. They provide their own ESL, their own GED, their test site for GED. They offer technology or job kind of training, but it's all corporate donors and Civic League, and it's all fundraising. And we don't want to get into that. We don't want to go there. But the other ones use, Addison uses the Dallas Library, but they have some of the same TechShare and some of the same other online resources like we have. Carrollton had a PDF of referrals for GED, ESL, that kind of thing. And I thought it was interesting, I'm not gonna read this to you, but that our ESL classes on their PDF is a referral. They refer people to Mansky. Interesting for that.
It's kind of interesting that they have a PDF for adult literacy when we're trying to help people who are not reading.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you had a family member that was struggling or something like that, that's why last time we met, we talked about, and with those women that I had talked to, and they had said like having things at events we have, giving them to the ESL class, having some kind of brochure or whatever. It's another way to do outreach where they don't have to go to the website. Richardson uses that RISD. There are 2 of them that have ISD support that is very strong. And that site has just everything. It has, they just refer to the Richardson Adult Learning Center, and they have the GED, the ESL, Google certification, Office Management certificate, all kinds of things that are funded by Texas Workforce, which has loads of money from the Labor Department to work with adults that are trying to get a leg up. Irving is the same thing. They have an adult learning center. They have similar things to what we have that are a little more avocational at the library. But that center does, and I was really pleased to see we're doing the citizenship because they offer the citizenship classes and the civics classes, and we started doing that. I like the family literacy that center does, but it's out of the ISD because what they do is work with families on how to help their children become strong readers. But they have a lot of things. We have Mango, we get that. So a lot of things that they do online, we have. And Coppell, I don't know about that tutor.com. You know anything about that?
Tutor.com is a paid database.
Paid.
We have
We try
something,
not to pay. I mean, we try not to have the people have to.
we have an alternate database. We have LinkedIn Learning. It was previously lynda.com, it's now LinkedIn Learning, and we also had one called Houdini, which are,
And I think they use Udemy.
Yes.
too. But I didn't know about the Gail Chilton programming. They had classes like on car repair.
yes, we have that database as well.
All kinds of things like that. And then they have some classes like our quilting. Final was very difficult to navigate because like if you put GED in, it kicked you to requirements for being a firefighter or something, I mean, it kicked you all around to, because I was just tied to the city, which is fine. But theirs kicked you to city things more than library things. So you had to always remember on every search to click on library only to find anything. They did have some finance things that they offered, and we've offered some seminars and things like that, and technology classes. The ESL were not live. They were just online, which I think would be a challenge for the person.
I can tell you our ESL class is averaging 40 to 60 people twice a week. And then
a lot of people.
it
I didn't
is-
realize it was that many.
it is quite a few. And then the Mango Languages offers an ESL option as well. It's not just English to another language. They also offer and learn English from Spanish.
That's cool. And they had the Canopy films that were some adult learning that they featured on their website. And the other place to watch that's really booming is Mental Care Services, that they have actually hired a workforce specialist and all kinds of outreach to companies to provide job fairs, training, and they have GED now. They do work with Dallas College coming there, or they send people to Dallas College. And they're increasingly using the workforce solution to beef up programming for adults that are trying to get better jobs, trying to get into the workforce, that kind of thing. So they be an interesting partner because they do serve Farmers Branch as well, even though they're located, and their new facility is amazing, absolutely amazing. So that's the notes.
Awesome.
So what are the opportunities? You think after doing all that research, what opportunities would there be
Well,
here at our library?
Well, I think, again, being a referral place more than a provider, and strengthening some things on the website. And I know that's tied to the city and work with them on that. The brochure ideas to have at events. So that, and maybe a partnership with the school district a little bit when they have Meet the Teacher Night or so, where they're going to have big groups of parents, particularly in the Farmers Branch schools, maybe to have information that promotes adult learning as well as learning for the kids. And I think both Brookhaven or the Dallas College and Workforce said they would help provide support for the website,
Yes.
referral pieces.
A lot of what they're willing to provide are links.
Yeah.
Into what they're already offering. I know the Work Ready U is the Dallas College program, and they are virtual and they meet at various locations throughout the county. So it just depends on how far residents willing to go.
I think really more referring it and just having adult learning is, because we do such a great, I think we just do a fabulous job with kids and the children's and just beefing up that other side. Part of it is the outreach on the underserved that's in the 2045 plan. You know, people that aren't gravitating to the library because they have reading rooms. They don't feel that's our place, you know, but then making that a little more center of our messaging. I don't know. But that's what I've been up to.
This is just a thought that I had. Have you reached out to the Dallas County field nurse?
No.
Okay, because when you said underserved, that is their role basically, is underserved health. So they might have some other avenues and such,
Ideas of how to reach out.
possibly, so. And that they have an entire department and such. It's the field nurse department.
Does the Friends Group do much outreach?
We do not
We
have-
don't have one at the moment.
Oh.
It kind of went defunct around the same time that the library, the bond went for rebuilding and/or all of that. Yeah, so, and there have been people trying to get it restarted, but they're having a hard time coming up with getting or finding the last people who knew anything about it. And it already has a tax ID number and all of these kinds of things. So they're trying to get that information so that they can restart it. Because there are people who want to.
Okay.
They're just really struggling to get it off the ground.
Well, that kind of group could like be at events to
Mhm.
hand things out, you know, rather than, we're trying not to burn the staff.
Right.
But like those kinds of volunteer people could be at an open house at a school or a, you know, something like the multicultural fair, you know, if we have big events like that, some of those things could have something. Trying to
The
connect.
wider events, even the Fit and Drive Live that's gonna be coming.
Oh, yeah.
Some Sort of booth there because people will go just to see that and maybe they'll say, hey, that's something that you might be interested in.
Mhm.
Or somebody else in their family.
Someone they know, yeah.
I don't know next steps or anything. That's just,
I think we
Fact
kind of
finding.
landed on
Just-
next steps is kind of, it's been researched, I think, as much as it can be researched.
Mhm.
And it's just compiling all of the links and things into a spot on the website that gets updated regularly, and then a printout that's, you know, people can, a physical piece of paper that people can pick up. And I think that's where we landed.
Yes.
yeah, and I
Last
think
time,
that,
yeah.
that would be,
I believe we called it a clearinghouse.
Yeah.
yeah,
they
like
want
a
the
clearinghouse.
Yeah. All right, so Sue and I met in February. So I'm looking at my notes to kind of go over when she was in town, just visiting the library, and we talked a little bit about the plan overall. And so this one is kind of what we
Was ever-
had.
Yes.
So this one that has lots of things on it is kind of a prettier version of my table in Microsoft Word. And like what we, you know, what we thought would be a good thing or what we wanted to do, you know, and then kind of through our conversation, we landed on what is things that belong to like what areas and what is the one thing that we could be doing over the next few years that would really serve the community the best. And that would be to create a storefront branch of the library on the west side. So if you've ever been in North Park and you've seen the little Dallas library inside of North Park Mall, so kind of that, but in a shopping center or an office building or something on the west side is basically where we landed. So that is what you have on sheet number 2. Yes. You see kind of all of those things of redeveloping and the West Side Books drop and the Bookmobile and mobile hotspot and additional branch locations. A lot of those things that we were talking about can kind of be met here. And if you flip it over on the back, this is kind of what it could do. So it reaches like the accessibility, right? It addresses challenges faced by people of getting, not that it's far, actually drives here. It's not far and it's not hard, but
It would be nice to have something.
it would be nice to have something a little bit closer so that it could also serve as a community hub, a place of gathering place, and tailoring the services to what it's needed in that area. And reaching out, with more tailored cultural events to that community. Does that make sense? And then economic benefit, small, and serving as a place for small businesses and entrepreneurs, which we talked about at one point of like, what are they called? Why can I not, in the incubator. It could be a little bit like an incubator. And then digital inclusion, so it would have kind of like we have out here with the printers and the copiers and the computers, it would have more of that, and then a smaller, I think, books, like a small, or at least a place to pick up books. Right?
That would depend on what we all
Yeah.
together thought would be best suited
Yeah.
to that community.
I
That
had
part
said
of the
back
community.
in January, February, that I thought, I kind of envisioned it as more the digital side of things rather than the
Physical
stuff.
side, yeah,
Right, that way you can do, or sit there and watch it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
You could do an ebook or a book on tape.
Mhm. Yeah.
And pick up your stuff, and do your research, have a kiosk to be able to reserve a book over there and it show up in a couple of minutes.
So I know this was kind of the long-term, what you want to see out of the next 20 years, where do we want to go? But it also focused a lot of those different aspects that you had into one vision instead of a bunch of broken individual goals. So it all brings it all together as one cohesive idea. What was the idea with that? But the question comes down to who are the people in the community in that area? What are the needs in that side of the community? Are we meeting them here? Are we not? What do they need in extension to what we already offer? And those are things we kind of need to start working to figure out.
I think a survey or a series of
Yeah, like
focus
in the
groups.
needs assessment survey or like. what
That's
do you
what I
want from
said.
the library?
Needs and wants.
Needs and wants, yeah, wish lists.
What would the people that
People
are
there
there
want-
would like to see?
I really think focus groups would be useful because there's been a lot of plans on just the spaces over there and how they're being used. And so I would be curious to get community feedback on the front end. Because we think this could be a really great idea, but does everybody over there think it's a great idea?
Right.
So-
Right, do they care?
Or, there's going to be a park built over there. And so just to kind of get their take on it, just to play up the positives, I think, to influence them would be helpful.
So we were gonna look into demographics a little bit, through waivers that are signed at different events. We can get addresses because we can't look up by zip codes since the city has basically 2 zip codes. That doesn't help you. But we can get people's physical addresses when they fill out waivers for things like the Predator Bird Show, the Raptor Show, or any of other summer reading kind of thing where they would need to have a waiver. Then we can get their addresses, and basically then somebody just sits and types the addresses into Google Maps and saves the location, kind of to see where all of how many people are coming.
Another
From
data
there.
point that waiver offers is ages.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see who on that side of the city is within what age range, so therefore what.
If it's
What are they
young
more
families, then the build out would need to be different.
Story time related as opposed to business related.
I think there could also be some partnership with the existing businesses over there to figure out the demographics. There've been 2 daycares built in the last 3 years. So that's an indication of the population.
And I know
But
it
in 40
may, yeah, and it may not be, it's not active anymore, but when they did the redistricting and they were looking at all the census, they had a whole program that could like in a second click and say, this is how many people, and it would tell what the demographics was in individual little blocks. And I don't know if the city still has access to that
I don't
or,
know. That would be cool.
because it broke it down to, and it was like age levels and if they're, and it was more of like, are they, it was more like voting age versus not voting age, but it was very detailed and then it was all from the census. So, and that might be at least a starting
Well,
point.
the thing is that census was in the infamous year of 2020. And I don't know how much of the build out over there was, how complete it was. Does that make sense?
Right, but I mean, it was fairly up to date,
Okay,
because
yeah.
even then, and when we had to do it, kept people saying, you had to focus just at that point, not like what you think it's gonna grow.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I wonder like how much it's changed since then. Now that there's people, like all of the houses are built and there's people living, or most of them are built and most of them have.
It'd be a
people
good, I mean, it'd be a lot
living. It'd
easier
be a
than
good starting.
doing
spot.
a
It'd be a good
one
start,
Google search.
yeah.
Have
Yeah,
you ever
good.
done a master plan for libraries? Like, if we were funded that you know of,
No, but I'm aware of.
it might be something.
Super.
That might be something to do, add to we're in the budget process right now, the city budget. That starts October 1st, so we're working with Heather, on some items for the next budget year. But I mean, that could be something, some funding for looking at what, because that'd be part of what a consultant could come in and
just saying,
assess what we have.
It's like, why reinvent the wheel when there's probably people that have the app input on their.
All right, what does Sue have to say? I figured
That's what we do at LSNS. That's the service that we offer. We can do a community needs assessment. We can work with the city's economic development folks to gather all of the data that help us to better understand what the needs are and what the demographics are in that underserved area. So we're poised and ready to put together a project plan. If that's something that the library.
I think that would be great, Sue. Because I think you probably know better what data you need than we do, and then how to apply that towards what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. We have all of those tools and resources in place. This is the kind of work we do regularly as a matter of course. So we're happy.
Because I can tell you too, if you go west side, the newer development is going to have a totally different demographic than it's just on the other side of 35, close to City Hall. That's a totally different demographic.
Oh, agree.
And so, but that area has a need for this kind of, these kind of services. I was even thinking the mobile, to service a lot of the apartments, a mobile would even be maybe a first step toward something like that. That might be, what would be the first thing, but that'd be something Sue and her folks could look at is.
Well, that was one of the things that Sue and I had talked about, that it's probably, instead of doing something like the Bookmobile or like an Amazon Locker style book drop, that, because those are expensive investments, almost as much money as getting one of these storefronts off the ground. Like cost wise, the Amazon Locker book drops are $50,000.
Grand Prairie has a vending machine for books.
Yes.
You ever seen that?
Yeah.
There's some in the high schools
It's
here.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, we're getting one this
Yeah,
summer.
there's some in the schools here. But
Pretty cool.
so when you're looking at the cost of what one of those things is and how many people and how many services that they offer, it's the storefront makes more sense. Like if you just do like a cost basis analysis, if it's the same amount of cost, the things you're going to be able to do with that money is much greater. You will have, the rent on a continual basis. But that's, employment costs. Yeah, those are going to be your biggest costs. But and then like you have a lot of one-time costs, right? You're buying computers, you're buying furniture, and then you're kind of done. So.
It could be even, like you were saying, it can even be activity driven where it's, when you have activities you want to do, then it's opened up. It's kind of one of those. And then I like the fact too, if this is here is still the hub, You know, it's the satellite where maybe you check out the books online here and then it's delivered
Yeah.
there and they get picked up and.
Yeah. No,
and that
that's definitely
becomes-
one of the things we were
Yeah.
talking about. Think of it as more like a, I don't want to say like a FedEx store, but like a
Yep.
library FedEx store.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of computers, there's a printer, there's a place to pick up your holds. There's a staff member there that can help you.
A place to study.
I kind of envision it being a little bit larger, you know, if it's available, you can have lounge areas.
Yeah, because the way this whole alternative branch thing started, one of the things we were talking about is just with more and more things, like obviously people still want to hold real books. But the library does have a lot of digital resources. And things are getting more digital. So it'd be things like you could check out an iPad and go sit in that recliner over there and watch a movie that is on Hoopla or one of the other Canopy, yeah. And so things like that.
One of the other needs that we've really noticed, our online booking system for these meeting rooms came
Mhm.
online about 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
We already have over 1,000 minutes of reserved time. And
So
they
it'd
are
be another
Between
meeting room.
these two, or
between these two
what
rooms
about the
alone.
ones downstairs?
We don't,
Can't-
we
those
don't
don't
have
have
those
that
online because they're not completely private because of the AC system. Those are on first come first served basis.
I wasn't sure if they were included or not.
But these are on the online reservation system, and within the first 2 weeks, we had over 1,000 hours of booked time.
So then it could be another
1,000 minutes.
1,000 minutes, yeah. But that could be another meeting area that you could, another meeting
But
room.
not a whole full-blown branch.
No. Just a little bit. I mean, not even actual probably physical books to check out, but you could have newspapers and
Books
magazines like you
delivered
do
there, yeah.
downstairs. You could have
Maybe new
things.
releases, new collection.
Yeah,
A curated selection.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
What about the growth on the east side?
Well, we talked about that.
And I
And
don't,
there's-
the other is more pressing.
yes,
Because there's people already
the
there.
east side growth is probably, that's gonna take 20 years. Because what they're looking at doing is like, do you remember what the design district
Oh,
was like 20 years ago? Like, that's their goal, is to take some of those old warehouses and pull off what happened in West Dallas and in the design district of, now this warehouse is cool apartments, or it's a brew pub, or
Like the
Whatever.
Tuesday morning location kind of thing?
yes. I want to take Tuesday morning and turn it into a giant indoor soccer place, but that's not
Knock the
what,
whole thing down, or at least repave
Pave.
it. My God.
yeah. But, anyway, but that's,
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's,
slower growth.
that's
Make that
slower
the
growth.
priority,
And I
yeah.
think, but the thing is if we do this in the next 5 years
Mhm.
and we do it well, then when it's time over
Yeah.
there, it's not even a
Have a
hard thing.
blueprint, yeah.
Yeah, you
It's not
have,
hard to sell.
it's not a hard sell and you know what to do and how to go about
Mhm.
doing it.
I like that.
The question would be the location. Actually, not just, came up with the same
Yes.
general location.
Yeah.
The question, the problem is, it's been presented, everything over there is taken.
Yes.
So where do we put this?
So
They
there are those office buildings that have the green roofs.
Yes, those are mostly unoccupied.
Yeah.
And there's also a new apartment complex that's being built and it will have retail space on the bottom. And I
That'd be a
don't
good
know if
place.
those are taken yet.
Mhm.
I imagine that they might have like a small little gym or something like that. So it might be just a big enough space for something like this.
Yeah, as long as it's not, I forget what the name of the place is, it's just off the 635,
Boardwalk,
the boardwalk.
not
Yeah.
that, not
Yes,
that.
because we actually went to drop by there to go take a look at it, just to check it out. It's very isolated.
It is,
Yeah.
it's a little tucked away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be too difficult to get people to go up in there.
No,
anyway.
I think you need to
But I like
stay
that.
between Luna
This is
and
right off.
635. Yeah,
Yeah, that Luna and Valley View.
yeah, right there.
Yeah.
That's, yes,
Somewhere
Luna and
there.
Valley View, where those come together, that is in my mind where it should be.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the hub of that side of the city.
Yeah, and having it in a apartment complex on the, like, the first floor, where they could shop, I think that's a fantastic place.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Put it on a corner.
There's also a pretty good size HOA amenity center in Mercer too.
There is.
It's very large, their main one anyway. I know they've got some little satellite, but I mean, that could be something, a partnership with the HOA or something where it's.
It
'Cause I mean,
could,
I
I
don't-
think, but that's gonna,
There's a lot of
there's a,
turf war kind of.
Yeah.
happening, so.
and the HOA doesn't fully own anything over there yet. Because the developer's still developing and, those things, my husband's a civil engineer. He just turned over a project in Keller that he started working on before our 9-year-old was even a fetus. So like yeah, so that's gonna take, I think, a little more time than trying to get into a shop. It's a great idea, but I think just because you're waiting on the developer to turn it over fully to the HOA and the city gets involved with that, did the developer do all the things that they said they were gonna do? And that can slow down those things. But if so it just depends on how long do you want to wait?
I like the idea of an apartment store.
I do too.
think that's-
Yeah.
That would be probably be best.
Do you know what it's called, Ashley?
I do not.
There's a couple new ones
Proud of
going
that.
around over there too.
It's right in the back of some homes. I don't know what it's called though. I can ride past. I would take a
Where's
picture.
the park gonna be?
So the park is just a little bit, it's north of the amenity center, it's at Mercer.
It'll be right in front of like the lake,
Oh, it's,
over
Yeah,
there.
near the lake.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and they're building some townhomes around that.
Yeah, that's the
We're
question.
working
Right
with
side
it.
of looking up.
And we're working with a developer right now on that park site.
Yeah.
There's items that they have in their development agreement to do for that park. The big amenity center is right there, at Mercer and Chartwell.
Mhm.
And then the park area is just north of that, yeah, on the north end of the lake. So, and there's, yeah, that's townhomes over there at Whittington and then.
We're looking
Oh,
at your
looking at
screen.
the map.
We're looking at, we're like, we don't know.
This is where the park is going to be. So this is the lake. This is where the park is going to be.
And
The amenity
just-
center is
yep,
right here.
It's on the bottom. part,
Chartwell
Right
and
Mercer.
Mercer.
And the apartments that they're
Okay.
building are gonna be right here behind.
Is it the Crosby at the Brickyard or no?
No, it's not those. Those are already up. It's gonna be right here. So a lot of people will have to pass by it.
Those are, they're out on Lumen.
Mhm.
Oh, in the part that's not anything yet.
Right.
Gotcha.
So right at,
Luna.
kind
and
of, it's on the
Mercer.
south side of Luna, south side, the
It's
south
right here,
west corner of Mercer and Luna.
right here. You think that's too far south?
No, I think I.
Oh, you were too far south. Yeah, I just want to know what's happening with the big patch of land that has nothing between Luna and Chartwell. So go back up. Right here. Like who owns that and what are they doing with it? Because that would be a really good location.
I know I know that the two corners are they're kind of looking grocery store sites
Grocery
over here.
stores.
Oh,
Put in
well,
a
yeah.
request for Trader Joe's.
Some point,
Yeah,
they're big enough.
that makes sense for there. And then with the green roof office buildings, I don't know what they're called, but I know they're very empty.
Yeah.
So you
But
could
if-
probably get a suite on the first floor or something like that. So nobody has to go up an elevator.
Yeah, that's definitely good.
Mhm.
Not anything more than first floor.
Yeah.
I think a master plan would really, with the services that LSNS, because on the Parks and Rec side, we do master plans to look at kind of what growth we've had and assess what we got, and then we look at, you know, what our needs are. And so I think this is kind of what you guys have already kind of gotten ahead of that a little bit, looking at what you think the needs are, and then it's just now it's getting the data to kind of back up, you know, what it is you guys are looking at. it's always nice having a third party be able to,
Well, and the city's already paying LSNS.
correct. This would be
So-
additional services, so the Sue could probably get us a quote. And we could try and look at that in the next, either this coming up budget or another budget to try to see what an assessment would cost and see.
We could sneak into this budget.
Yeah, we've
That
got
would be
time.
Great,
If that's something like.
because otherwise we're waiting like 2 years to even just.
Yeah,
start
we wouldn't be able to spend the money
investigating.
until the end of the year and
Right,
That's a good idea.
just with the way the budgets work.
Yeah, get it on the budget to get the assessment.
Right,
So
right,
you're
right,
not
right,
waiting an entire
Yes.
year just for an assessment.
right.
So
That's kind of what I
another
was
year
getting
to see
at
what we
is.
get on the budget.
Yeah, to see whether it's worth, yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay.
would that be an action item or?
No, we don't have an action item. We're just discussing.
Okay,
This kind of is the new plan. After like
You're-
talking to Sue and LSNS, that like, this is kind of the best, our ideas were great, but the best way that the best thing we can do that works inside of the city's plan that furthers the library is to kind of focus all of our efforts on trying to get a west side storefront library. If that makes sense, because that meets all the needs.
Mhm.
It's another place to put brochures. It's a place that somebody could meet somebody for tutoring or whatever. Like, there's a lot of opportunities for a space over there that can serve the public in a lot of different ways.
We're not trying to be prescriptive about what it should contain.
No.
We just want to see that it should contain something.
And right, I guess the only, like, it should contain what the people over there need. And until we do some kind of a survey or needs assessment kind of thing, we don't know what that is.
Yep.
But we can have a loose framework, right?
Yeah,
What that
general
should
idea.
Uh-huh.
With the overview of it.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for. Something that's important. The overall idea.
The master
The mission
plan.
statement.
Yeah, the
mission
master
statement.
plan, yeah.
Master plan.
Thanks for that. Y'all got involved with the group.
Well-
Since we work with them anyway.
Yeah.
You had the pieces.
You had the
It was
pieces.
broken out. you
And
were like,
now
"Well,
it's
I
just,
know what's
Sue
going on."
wanted to look at it. Yeah, Sue looked at it. Yes,
That's good.
Yeah.
Bring in
she
the
looked at it
information.
and was like, well, guys, that's what I mean, when we started it working with Trevor, I said, this is our like civilian knowledge, right? Of just like being the citizenry of like, wouldn't it be great if, right? When you ask a kid, like, what would you do on your perfect day? Right? And the sky's the limit. And then Sue's like, well, here's what we can actually do. And this is what we can actually do that does meet a lot of our initial goals and ideas. Yeah. So Heather, collections development policy review.
Yes, so I emailed everyone a copy of a new collection development policy and a reconsideration form. This is an update from, I think it's been 10 years since the last collection development policy. Let me check and see if you guys have had a chance to review that, if there's anything you to go over, any questions. Make sure you understand why we have this and with, especially with today's climate on
Thank you.
banned books, shall we say.
Right. I was just really relieved to see that you tackled it again, because in the absence of a policy, it would have, I'm not sure where it would have gone if we had had a challenge. We've been, and maybe we have, I don't know.
There was a policy in place, but it, like I said, it was 10
To
years.
the board, didn't it? Or I don't know.
It's been 10 years.
Yeah,
So,
So it wasn't. I just have learned that policies are your friend.
Yes. Yes, they are.
so the main thing on this is giving the public and staff a guideline on, why we purchase the materials we do, making sure people realize that we do not censor. It's up to the individual to choose what they want. But it also provides them an avenue that if they do object to something, there is a process that they can submit their objections and it can be reviewed. And part of that process does come to you as the library board.
Right.
If someone has an issue with the material, it would come to me.
I like that.
If I think it's a material worthy of being on the shelves or in the library, I can give that opinion. But at that point, if they still object, it would come to you at a library board meeting to make as a representative of the city to give your view of your opinion on the material.
I was glad they're married together because the rationale for how you select materials is really something, if something did come to us, we could lean on. You know, that you want to reflect the community, you want to reflect the.
Yes, exactly. Can I interject something here quickly? It's not necessarily Heather's point of view that she would be sharing that things requesting into consideration and challenge material. It would be Heather's informed point of view as a professional, but within the parameters of the policy that you all approve. So I think that's an important distinction. It's not an independent or personal point of view. It's an informed professional point of view that's informed by the policy that the board approves.
We do have to, this is an action item. Okay. Right? Don't we have to approve it or no? We don't have it on here as an action item. We did not say take appropriate action. We're just reviewing it. Great.
Does the board have, I asked Sue this because we went over some of this in our meeting the other day. Does the board have any input on, do you feel like, because the library board is a reflection of, council appoints you. Typically, you're in advisory capacity. Do you feel like do you feel like it needs to go beyond the library board? So if somebody, that's what I was asking, like on park board, they're advisory. So, park board can make a decision, but ultimately we can't spend money, they can't spend money just like you guys. So, but on materials, I'm not really sure if somebody wanted to take it beyond, since this is a city facility. Ultimately the council would be the decision maker if it went beyond something like this. So I didn't know if
So
that's
in
something.
other communities, what's happened when it's gone
Okay.
beyond a library director and beyond an advisory board is then the person has filed a lawsuit to kind of get their point across. In one instance, there was the city of Llano down the hill country, but they were suing their commissioner's court to keep them from closing their library. I think that is what I have seen is when people don't get their way, then they end up filing a lawsuit.
Which is fine. Ultimately, that is council decision at that point.
Yeah.
If they sue the city. So I'm wondering if they had their I'm wondering if in a policy, we need to say, if you go beyond this, then it would be referred back to city council for final decision. Because at that point, if they decide then they're making that decision that we can be sued. You see where I'm going with that?
Yes, yeah,
Because it's a city facility.
yeah.
That's a tough.
And maybe that's something we don't.
I
deal
don't
with in
know if we
this.
want
I don't know.
to, I don't know that we want to put the city council in that position for a lot of reasons.
Well, I didn't know if you guys wanted to be put in that position either.
But
Well,
for
we kind of
us,
buy in.
I
You
mean,
know,
that's
we
part of the
sign up for
buy-in.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
we
it's-
can already be sued for the actions taken on this board.
yeah,
That was told to us during the ethics.
yeah.
and other stuff.
Well, it goes back even to as well, from a legal perspective. If someone takes something to the library board and there's a chance that it could be something that they don't go the way of the person that's making the complaint. I think at that point, legal has to be maybe involved, and we need to make council aware. So maybe it's not written in here, or maybe it's kind of an unwritten thing. If something gets to that
That could
point,
be
I
a
think it's just a
procedure
matter of
that
us letting
backs up
them
the
know.
policy.
Right,
We
because
might
there's a
need-
possibility if the board refuses to, it goes against what the person wants, they have that option. But I think that's something we need to kind of be cluing in.
I thought about that too. I wonder, how do we get appealed? you know, and
Well, it does say that if they don't like our decision, then they can, in 2 years, ask for it to be reviewed again,
Which will be a different board.
which will be a different board.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because our terms are 2 years and we're not all like synced up. Everyone's
Right.
all staggered.
Right.
So it'll be a different composition, which means a vote could be different.
But,
And we're not, I would say this in the nicest way possible. We are not beholden to a constituency in the same way that a council member is.
but I do
So
think
that is why I would say no to having it go beyond
to
that.
put that in policy. But I do think most policy that I worked with on the school district had a set of administrative procedures that was not the official policy that the board voted on, that the school board voted on. But the staff had procedural considerations.
A procedure to make sure everyone's aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
Right,
So
but
I don't know.
that would fall more to you.
Yeah,
So
so we
say,
may
hey,
need to
this is coming up, I'm
investigate.
gonna let you know.
Yeah, I mean, it may be a thing where it's for you, if a book gets brought to attention or to the director's attention, then maybe that triggers an email to legal of, hey, this has happened and I want you to let you know that this is the process that will happen after this. And you can let them know that this was the decision that I made, and if they recall or whatever, here's what might happen next. Just so that they're aware and the city's not blindsided when somebody's like, you've impeded my
Yeah,
free
I'm not
speech.
sure what she
Yeah.
has to say about that, because she's got a,
If I can interject, that's a procedural thing that we're talking about right now. We wouldn't put it in policy necessarily because we don't want to
yeah, would be a.
hammerlock ourselves. But absolutely, in the rare circumstance where someone is dissatisfied with the director's decision, goes to the library board, and then this remains unsatisfied with the library board's decision. Either way, when the library board makes their decision, that will be communicated by the director to the city. So the city will be aware that this reconsideration process was completed, and, you know, would share the contact information of the person who brought forth the grievance. So the city would be absolutely informed if it was necessary to go through both steps of that process.
So it sounds like it's just a difference between procedure and policy,
This is,
and this is policy.
well, this is like the form. Here you
That's
go.
what-
You don't
Yes.
like it, here you go.
Yes,
Here's your
here-
process.
Yeah, exactly. Here's how
It's
we
your
pick
process.
books. Here's how we pick the books and what we do with the books when the books are done being read. And if you don't like a book, here's the form you have to fill out. And then that kicks in a procedure.
Yeah, and that's, my experience has been that school board set policy, the administration set procedure.
And in the case if it was brought to us, it would be an agenda. I
I
mean, you
don't
have to have an agenda in a public hearing and we
Mm-hmm.
would vote. So therefore, when that's triggered, the city would automatically know then that we're meeting to discuss an issue with a particular book.
Right,
And that would be
exactly.
the little, without making a big deal out of it, but just because we're meeting as a official meeting, that triggers the open meeting laws and, you know, the fact that we're having an agenda and therefore that would be
Right.
that, it's not like we're running behind their back going, we're having a meeting, we need you to know, but oops, here's the agenda. Oh, look, and.
Right.
It would be publicly posted.
Posted.
I would have already told
Right.
Robert what was
Yeah.
going on.
It would have been, because it even says in here that it would happen at our meeting during the citizen comment section. They would have their standard 3 minutes. And then I guess we would vote on it later
Right, and
or
just,
on the same meeting, or no,
no, it says we have 30 days.
30 days to
Yeah,
respond.
We need to,
Yeah.
Because
We're
at
not
the end
gonna-
of the
we're not
citizens'
gonna-
comments, you do not
You
respond.
can't
to them.
respond during, that's what I thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
they would bring their.
They
yeah,
bring their
review,
agreement,
that
we
would
say
be the
thank you,
time
have a
to
nice
review
day,
and talk.
we'll go about our business.
But there again, we were everybody will know about it with us feeling like we had to do it. We're doing it legitimately and it's open, but it's not anything different than any other issue that comes up.
Well, our next meeting would be within 30 days.
Right.
Yeah.
We may schedule in the scenario, we may even.
We could schedule a
meeting
special
early,
meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or an ad hoc meeting, right, and to actually discuss that and they can come and listen. But they can't.
We're sharing information without making it
Yeah.
official, like, yeah,
Mhm.
we're having to, yeah, set up.
Because this is First Amendment, and I'll assume that is this something, the policy that would need to go to your legal or our legal, just to gotta give an okay? Is that something that you would typically see? I'm just curious. This is me.
Policy that you have is already approved.
It's their,
That's what we're just reviewing this so that everyone has a good understanding of it. But that policy has already been reviewed and approved.
Oh.
Heather, is that correct?
This policy has gone through you and whatever LSNS review. And then it has been emailed to Robert. That's as far as it's gone. This is the submission to
The board hasn't voted on the new update yet.
Right. There's been no update. The board has not voted on this, or the city has not given an opinion.
It's still a draft. Still a draft.
Yeah.
No action. to be taken.
Can I get some clarity? And are we talking about the actual request for reconsideration form or our collection policy or both together?
Both together.
Okay. And Robert, are these policies, these library policies, typically voted on and approved by the library board or council?
The board.
That's what I thought. Yeah, so these are, on our end, they've already been vetted. So they are being presented to the library board for review, comments, discussion.
Correct.
and approval.
Yeah, and we don't have it as an action item. We're just looking at it today. And then I guess we'll need to vote on it at our next meeting.
Correct. It's gonna be an
We'll
action
need to
item.
make it a future item for action.
Yeah, future item for action.
Did anyone have any other questions, comments about the?
And I think it's pretty
No, I like it.
straightforward.
I'm assuming page 2 and 3 are different.
Yeah, here's page 2.
Yeah.
Mine is.
Oh, I'm blind. I only got 3. Sorry. My bad.
One of them has this.
There it is. It's my dyslexia. Sorry.
Go ahead.
It happens to the best of us.
All right, still Heather, director's report. Still your turn.
The first thing, I guess, the majority of the director's report is going to be based off what the library staff has accomplished and done in the past, I guess, 2 months, actually. You may have noticed on your way in, we have completed our 4th annual bookmark contest. We've had quite a few entries in that. The winner should be announced next week. And that will be our bookmarks throughout the rest of the year.
Did the Arts and Culture Committee vote on them again like they did last year?
They're in the process of doing
Okay.
so, yes.
I'm gonna do the same thing. We're gonna print a draft of them for everybody and
Yes,
display them on the wall.
absolutely.
I should go take a picture of my kids so they can see that. For people who vote on.
We had a very busy spring break. I'm sure most of you did as well, but I think we totaled a little over 600 people coming to events for our spring break.
I was there. It was
Uh,
amazing.
I remember Kathy's Critters brought in quite the crowd. Quite the crowd. We had the Totality Over Texas. That brought in not quite 200 people, so that was quite well received. The Solar Superstars also came in and did another museum with a brief, I think it was an hour and a half program focused on the eclipse as well. And then the viewing party, which averaged about 150 people were at the viewing party. And then we had our Nerf battle, which brought in about 50 kids. So I think we'll be repeating the Nerf battle, but maybe moving it outside instead of in the house.
Oh, was it inside? That was
was
what we
inside.
wondered when we, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember why
That
we
would
did
be a
the
wise
family.
idea.
Yeah. Those are outside toys at our house and you're given
a 20-minute notice before the lawnmower comes out to collect all of your Nerf bullets. And if you don't collect them, they become styrofoam mulch.
We did use it inside because we used a lot of the tables and boxes to
Oh,
create
nice.
obstacles
Yeah, yeah,
and things like that for them. So they weren't actually always shooting at each other. They had targets.
Oh,
to-
Oh,
to
that's
go.
fun.
But we're hoping to move that outside next time. We do have elections kicking off very soon. They should be bringing in the equipment next week and then starting to set up for early voting.
That's gonna be on the hub.
It is, yes. And then we have finalized our summer reading. The theme is Adventure at Your Library. And our kickoff party on June 1st is going to be a foam truck party. Not sure if you are familiar with that.
Yes. How much?
So it is
Like
a
foam
giant,
party.
it is
Do
a
you like
giant
foam parties in
foam
college? No,
That wasn't a thing.
Oh. no, just me. Ashley, yes? I was like, we're of the same era, surely, okay.
You
I believe
eat the
it
foam?
started.
No,
with
no,
the
you
run
just like.
No, you said
and it
women.
turned to
You-
foam parties. It's basically
just
going
play
to be 4 to 6 feet of foam. And then you can run around and play in it and they continually shoot it out at you throughout the.
Think of like a giant public bubble bath, but not the water part of the bubble bath, just the bubble part of the bubble
Yeah.
bath.
Not in the college.
No,
Not in the college.
not in the college.
We are advertising
It's
bring
right.
change clothes, bring your own towel and, suggest a.
She showed me a picture. It's like, think like the Kona ice cream truck or something like that, like a food truck, but it just blows foam, like foamy bubbles out the top
This is gonna
and
be-
side. And
Some elementary schools rent them.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's kid friendly.
It is specifically
This is gonna
for.
be-
Is there flavoring that goes with this?
Uh,
No,
where
but
we
can
have
we
done
cover it?
Kathy's Critters, up towards the park. Outside.
If board
Not
members
in the
come
parks.
to supervise the event, do they have to participate?
Yes, you must run
I do not.
through the foam.
I don't
No,
think-
I think
I
you
don't
just,
think I'm up
I
to
think that.
I think that's gonna go
you
with
just-
Bell's house.
No, it's
So,
Your physical therapist is gonna be so upset with
back
you.
to physical therapy. Oh.
What did you slip on again?
It was,
Don't
I was
worry.
out of.
Never mind, don't
I
answer.
thought I'd talk to you about.
But I think that'll be fun. I'm glad you're doing something.
That's good. That would be great.
Trying to
For
drive that a
someone
little
else.
bit and do something a little new.
Yeah,
I'm not worried. Shouldn't get down or anything.
he's just
Having a
telling you
little
he's
fun.
old and he doesn't know what you're talking about. What?
We are bringing back the Wednesday performers. The Rafters will be back. We're having a program with the firefighters again. The Dallas Puppet Theater, Professor Brainius and Creature Teacher.
Preacher chief is always.
Absolutely.
Raptors, big birds.
Yes. Birds of Prey.
Isn't there the arena football team called the Raptors?
I believe
Yeah.
there's several sports teams called the Raptors, but I'm not sure which sports.
There is one, there's a basketball one in
Somewhere.
Camden.
Yeah.
It was an expansion team.
I'm sure they're not good.
Well, that's
No, they're not.
But staff are hard at work getting that done. And we are hoping, we are making it a priority that on June 1st, in coordination with the summer reading kickoff, we are also hoping to have the Innovation Zone soft launch ready to go. So that people can start booking time with the Glowforge and the 3D printer. We will hopefully have the sewing machines out, the Cricut out, ready to go. Be ready for people to start using them. I think that's been a long time coming, and so we
It's
are,
gonna be a busy summer.
we have to work to get that ready to go. And that's why we've sort of moved our meetings into the meeting. Is getting ready for that to be.
a new habit.
Now, on the phone, was it, is it reasonably priced to get the phone?
Yes, it is
Okay.
reasonably priced. It's the same.
Not because I'm just, we have Water Day coming and I was like, well, that could be a fun addition.
Oh, at school, yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah, yes.
It is very
Thought you were
comparable to
planning
all of
something
the
in the
other
neighborhood.
programs. We're the
Okay.
same price as
Cool.
all the rest. If you want details, we can talk about
Thank you. Yeah, I'll get there.
it. 'Cause we did get an extended package for what they're, we did a 2-hour package instead of the traditional 1 hour.
Cool. That's gonna be so fun.
It is. It's probably gonna be real crowded too, just like Campus Critters.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna be confined to one area.
Yeah.
So they can spread that out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that'll be fun. You're like adventure at your library.
So we will still have our, they were bookmarks, I believe. Every, fill out your bookmarks. We were deciding on the themes of them today. Turn them in, get your buttons. When you do 3, you get the book bag. And for the younger kids, you'll get a book. And all of them will get entries into your grant prize.
So fun. What is the grant prize, or do you not know yet?
I personally do not know. Dustin has all of the children's prizes ready to go to be ordered. Budget wise, we were waiting for children's to be ordered before we order adults. So I do not know the adults yet. That is the end of the director's report for today.
I was just gonna say, I also went to the multicultural thing in Dustin Linda did a really cute story time, and we didn't get tons of people in the little audience area, but we were right by the face painting line. And so lots of kids got to see the story, hear the story, but they did a really nice job.
I sent you pictures. They were wonderful.
I took some pictures of it. That whole thing was fun.
Mhm. We are gonna put that in the budget again for next year.
It was really fun. They had such good entertainment.
We had good weather. It was awesome. It was-
Such a
And at the
great
board
time.
dinner, everybody was talking about it.
It was so much fun. And a beautiful day and great, so, yes. That's worth doing if they do it again.
All right. Future items. So we have already, I have vote on the collection policy. Is there anything else that anybody wants to add?
Do we need to revisit the Summer of Kindness movie night?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
have we too late on that? Or
I think we might be,
They maybe have too many plans.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, it's full.
yeah, because we talked about doing that like the same day, but if we're soft launching.
No,
It's gonna be a lot.
And the
I want to be
phone.
out for the phone.
We also will not actually, there's a potential we will not have access to the hub that day. It depends on if there's a runoff election.
If there's a
Yeah.
runoff,
Yeah, I forgot about that. There usually is with the council people, yep. So, yeah,
And could that be something we could save and bring up like next February around Valentine's Day or even around Thanksgiving or, because it, I mean, it could be,
Polish.
yeah, it could be something we could, once we've got a lot of the good ideas, it could just be slotted in another kind of deal.
Because what Allison worked out with her little scavenger hunt
Yeah.
was sort of environmental. It was like going around, picking up litter in the park. And, you could check off all these little things that you could do. And that, you could do that in the fall.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
Finding a repository of ideas.
Yes, yeah. No, it's good. I think just things are getting busy. And there's probably not a good place or the time to try and execute that.
Do we want to revisit action on the storefront branch or any discussion around that?
I don't think there's an action for us to take if it's gonna be taken by the city.
Yeah, I think that one's out of our hands a little bit. Until, I think we all kind of agreed that this was the right thing, like the right path to travel down. And now we need to get the master plan from LSNS into the next budget so that then we can execute that task.
Yeah, have the.
And then once we have that
Supported
information, like it's just, yeah, I think that's where we're at, is we need more information.
So do we need to keep it just on that as like a
That
running?
discussion. Running.
I don't think so. I don't,
We can bring it back.
We can
like
bring
a-
it back or
Like an update on.
update, I mean,
Yeah.
even
on the-
under like Heather's director's report, if there's an update on the status, then that would be a good place for it to just naturally come up, I feel like.
And on the adult stuff as you deal with brochures and stuff. Maybe just an update. Not
Absolutely.
action.
I don't think there's any more action to take on the document. I think it's pretty settled. So just vote on the collection policy, and then if you think of something, I think you have to do it within 8 days of our next meeting. 8 days?
When is our next meeting?
No, that's a good thing also. Let's do that.
Second
I
Tuesday. of next month.
believe it's
Yeah.
midnight.
Or
It's
Thursday.
technically supposed to be May 9th. So we'll keep it that unless it just doesn't work for anybody.
Doesn't work for me, but
Individuals.
Yeah. So then you could either do the 2nd or the 16th.
second works better for me.
Which one? The second?
May 2nd. That it just works better for me. I don't know if it works.
Does that work for everyone else? Are you,
Maybe.
are you traveling?
No, I'm not traveling, but we have some friends from Oregon there sometime that week, but I don't know. So,
Yeah, the farther away from the second Thursday. Yes.
yeah, you don't want
I
to.
just, I may just miss
May 10th.
May, because my May is crazy.
Okay, so do we want to just leave it the 9th then? okay.
For me.
It's the end of the school year for those of us who are teaching.
Yeah.
So,
I
Yeah,
mean, I think any later than that would be hard on.
Yep.
Teacher.
Okay, and then let's go, do you want to set June while we're here? And then July, we always take a break. So the next one would be June 13th.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, because I'm gone after that, so. All right, 13th,
And then no July.
no July,
I'm
yeah.
taking it off my schedule.
Yeah, we always take breaks in December and July.
And then
okay, June is the last.
You may or may not.
June is, yeah, June, and June is, June 30th is the end of people's terms and the July
people come
in July. Yeah, well, August, yeah,
They get appointed in July.
July, and then we'll see them at
And I
our.
always miss it.
It's 2 years, right?
Unless you are an alter, yeah, 2 years, unless you were filling in something.
Somebody else's position.
It's 2 years.
Alternates backfilling somebody's term to the end of the. that-
Like my first term, I was finishing out someone's second year. Like they had 2 years of a term,
Right.
but they
It's partial.
left, I had a partial term, so I did one, and then I will be up in June.
Okay.
That's my second full term, but I had a partial before that. Their website is wrong, and it says that I'm on my first.
Oh, really?
I was just curious because I'm technically alternate number 1, but with everything else.
You're backfilled to somebody else.
Yeah.
Probably,
This-
so-
This time, this June will be the end of that partial.
And then
we
it'll be
become
a full.
Full.
Should you get,
Okay.
so we're gonna talk to council.
Yeah, right. No,
All
it's
right.
like math.
Are there anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, David, motion to adjourn,
Second.
and Zach seconds, all in favor? All right, 8:14, we are adjourned.
If I could just have 1 second, I know I've kind of just let everybody know my name's.
Is it still related to this?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
done.
we're off. Thank.
Did you stop the recording?
No.
She's got to-
Yeah.
she's caught it over there.